Hello and welcome back to the Book Buddies. I'm Claire.
And I'm Kaycie.
And we are here to talk about 5 of our favorite books. We are back at Kaycie's place. Not filming on the floor this time because my feet fell asleep horribly and it was not fun, so I didn't want to do that again. But knowing us, we're going to be back on the floor in one of these videos.
Most
like idiots. But, yeah, so we just... thankfully, Kaycie has all these books I like, so I was able to find some of my top books. I have more than 5, so really...
She always suggests books, and I always end up buying them, so it worked out.
It worked out well.
Yes.
But yeah, so definitely some of my top 5 are here, so I'm going to be talking about those, and she picked some of her top 5.
Yeah. So I think, to start off, I'll just say that my top 5 are always changing. I think for me, it's more like what books have stood out to me recently that I really like, that I would recommend people read. And then there's a couple that I always come back to that I just have loved for a long time. So yeah, it's kind of a mix for me, I'd say.
I just add books to my favorites.
Yes.
as I go through life. These ones have definitely been my favorites for a while, I'd like to say.
So, yeah.
So these are some pretty solid top 5 books for me. They're not recent, as in I read them in the last year. It's the last few years to, when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
So...
a good mix.
Yeah. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I will start with the one that is probably the one I read the farthest back when I was still in elementary school. And I've returned to a bunch of times. I just think it's such an interesting book. And yeah, it's called The Underneath by Kathia Pelt. So I don't know why I keep coming back to this book, but I don't know. There's some kind of just sadness in a lot of the characters that is just, I don't know, it's really, I think I just find it a really good read. It has, I suck at explaining books, but
I do too.
it kind of follows, it's mostly in the perspective of a made-up family of a dog and a cat and her kittens, and ties in kind of this past story or myth kind of, and this bitter man who lives in the jungle, and kind of an intertwining story of, how their lives interact. And yeah, I definitely 100% recommend. I read it, I think, in grade 6, and I've loved it ever since, and I read it every couple of years, and I gave her a copy.
Which I still have to read.
I tell all my friends to get it, because I don't know, it's just really interesting. I think it's unique from a bunch of the other books I've read in that kind of middle grade era, or middle grade section, so I don't know. Yeah, really great. Love it. Always come back to it.
Speaking of books from our childhood, I did not put these in a way that I can see. One of my books is Seekers by Erin Hunter. This is Kaycie's copy. She keeps talking about how beat up it is. Mine, the first 3 books are taped together.
Okay,
so you're fine.
It's not that bad.
You're fine.
Bad. Yeah.
These little folds in it, they're nothing compared to this is where my tape is.
Fair. I used to store
missing.
books under my pillow because I'd read them into the night, and then I just shove them under my pillow and sleep. And thankfully I've stopped doing that.
Well, because you were in a bunk bed, so
I know, it's true.
It's better than tossing them on the floor.
Yeah, so I thought, but this is the result of that. So
well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I have the first book, but really it's the first 6. For Seekers, there's 2 series. Series 2 sucks. Kaycie was there when I finished the last book of the whole series. For moral support, to comfort me. I think we had school the next day or something, and you were still just there in my house.
Yes.
She's a great support system. I just closed the book, and she went, "Did you finish?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that was it. Because it sucked.
I know, it was
it's a book about bears.
The most
There's a fucking love triangle in a book about bears. What is this? And my couple didn't even get it together. The author was like, it's unnatural for a brown bear and a black bear to date. And I was like, you have a shape-shifting grizzly bear.
I was going to say, it's unnatural for bears to be dating. I think that...
Yeah.
Anyway.
They just bang. But, so Seekers follows 4 bears who are on a quest to save the wild. very ahead of its time. For some reason, all the Canadians are gun crazy and the Americans aren't.
Intriguing.
Which I didn't realize until I saw a post on the internet about it. I was like, oh yeah, this is set mainly in Canada.
Yeah.
And everyone has a gun.
Well,
so, plot twist. But, yeah, I just love these books. They have a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
It's really what jump-started my love for reading. One year, I will do a reading vlog of all of them, because you need to just see me cry. That's all it's gonna be. But, yeah, this has definitely been my longest favorite book.
Yeah, I think so. I can attest to that.
And I highly suggest it, because it's not as popular as Warriors, which is by the same author.
Intriguing. And if you are looking for, like, I think a sad bear, and also, like, the Warriors, there's so many books.
And there's so many characters, but this one is really just Toklo, Lusa, Kalik, and Udrak.
And you really only have to read the first series.
It's just 6 books. You can skip the other ones. Mm-hmm. I can write a fan fiction of how it should go.
Link for that in the description.
No. But, yeah, so read Seekers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. The next one will be one that I read most recently. Why not? This is one this is the last book I finished, actually. So yeah, I don't know how long this will be on my favorites list, but right now it's up there. It definitely made me cry. I was in a bit of a...
You don't cry that often.
No,
reading.
I don't cry a super ton while reading.
I do.
Yeah.
The waterworks just...
They happen.
Yeah.
They happen. But yeah, no, so Sadie by Courtney Summers. It was a really good read. I was very sad while I read this book. I was like, why am I in such a bad mood? And it was literally, this book was bringing me down, but in the best way possible. It was just, it's a good, premise. There's this guy who runs a podcast about missing girls, and it's following kind of the story that inspired him to start the podcast. And it's about this missing girl, or I guess I can say sister, who's missing after her sister was found dead. And yeah, it's a good mystery. There's a couple good twists and turns in here. And it's just, I don't know. I think there's like a lot that can go wrong in a book like this, but I like how it was written. I like how they explored this topic, and it felt pretty real. So I think that's why it was so depressing, but also why it was so good.
I also read it before Kaycie, and I lent it to my mom. Mm-hmm. And when she was done it, she opened my bedroom door and went, "That was mean!" And lightly tossed the book, but still tossed the book at me. And she was like, "It can't end that way," and then just closed my door and left.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might hate the ending, but I think that's part of the why I like the book so much, because I think it just is fitting.
That last line, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
It's really good. Definitely, if you're in the mood to be depressed as hell, this is the book for you. Yeah.
Speaking of depressed as hell, the next book that's on my favorites is A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahara Mafi. Mm-hmm. So a little fact about me, I'm in a long distance relationship. So I don't see my boyfriend that often, especially with COVID. I hadn't seen him since February 2020. October 2021, I finally got to see him. So that was fun. But this book is about a girl named Shirin, a year after 9/11, just kind of her life. Mm-hmm. It has breakdancing in it, which is really cool. Yeah. But she also falls in love with this guy named Ocean, which is the large expanse of sea in the title. And Tahara just writes the romance so good that the first time I read this book, I just cried the whole time, because it made me think of my boyfriend, and it made me miss him. And so I always cry. I'm getting emotional right now. I can feel it.
I can hear it. It's a good one.
I just got back from seeing my boyfriend, so I'm really sad. Mm-hmm. Literally yesterday.
Yeah.
But so this book, really just
Yeah.
holds that love, because the love feels real.
I was gonna say, if you are not like a huge romance person,
like
I feel
still
like this
try
is a good
this, because it's not just
dip
the
your toes
romance.
in.
It's like her life
yeah.
dealing with racism and like joining a breakdancing team, which like more books need dancing in them.
I agree.
Because I was so excited about
Not that
that.
I can dance.
That's the reason I bought this book, was because I was like, I want to read about dancing.
That's pretty great.
And then I got hit with the emotions.
I know.
Like, there was this part where they're talking on the phone, and he's like, I miss you, or they're texting or something, and he was just like, I miss you, and I just bawled.
Yeah, I believe it.
There's a part where, like, he's in her room, and he's like, oh, this is where I talk to you on the phone. Fucking waterworks. So, yeah, I would suggest this book. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
a good one. It's
10
really
out of
like
10.
It's like a coming of age, but so much more. Like,
yeah,
it's really good.
It will be on my favorite list for a long time to come.
Yeah,
probably until I die.
Nice. Okay.
Try to top that.
Let's see. Yeah, no kidding. Wow. This one. Okay, The Bear and the Nightingale. It's the first of a trilogy by Catherine Arden. I don't know. I'm going to be mispronouncing some of these author names.
Yeah.
I apologize now. Yeah, this one, I do love fantasy and kind of magic and all that good stuff. And this one is based on like Russian fairy tales and folklore kind of. And I don't know, I loved it. It was a really cool world. I loved the main character. You know, this is so cheesy, but you know, just that classic strong female. No, no, but she's really cool. It was really fun to follow her, and like see her kind of personal journey through it all. It was like I was rooting for her the whole time. There's like some interesting romance in here.
Is it between a bear and a person?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was joking. I was thinking about being Seekers.
I mean, kind of. You have to read it.
My guy shapeshifts.
Yeah.
He can be a human.
There you go.
That's
same,
not
same.
making it better.
I was gonna say. We're just coming across real weird here. But no, it's a really good read. It's really fun. If you're really into like fantasy, magic, something a little bit different, this is definitely it. It has a different feel because it's based on Russian fairy tales. So it's a new, but it's also kind of old at the same time. So yeah, definitely this has been one of my favorite reads for the past couple of years. I had a friend from high school recommend it to me. And I very much trust her opinions, and I'm glad that I did this time because solid read, and we'll definitely come back to it many times because it's just fun.
I had no friends in high school who read except for you.
Tragic.
But you weren't in my high school. You weren't in the same school as me, so it didn't count.
That's true. Rough.
Speaking of magic, my next book is The Riverman by Aaron Wow.
Almost
why
made
am I
it.
Butchering Starmer.
Who knows?
I don't have my glasses.
Wrote
this
a beautiful
one
book.
was going to be Kaycie's on her list
Yes,
too.
yeah.
But I stole it first.
Yes.
So, God, this book, I bought it because of the cover. I convinced her to buy it because of the cover. The story, oh my God. I need more people to read this trilogy.
A lot more people need to read that
So
trilogy.
there's 3 books. There's The Riverman, The Whisperer, and The Storyteller. All beautiful. Yeah. What's really cool is they're all told in a different perspective. So this one's first person, the next one's third person, and then the third one is diary entries. And it works really well.
It does, yeah.
So if you've heard about it and that's putting you off, don't let it because it's fantastic. But this one follows Alistair, this guy, and he meets Fiona. Well, he knows Fiona, and she wants him to write her biography in case her spirit gets stolen by a thing called the Riverman in a magical world that she visits every night.
Yeah.
And
if that doesn't have you hooked already.
Oh my God. This book is so
it's interesting.
Dark.
It's very dark.
Middle grade books hit different.
It's true.
They really do.
I truly believe that.
I really don't know how to talk about this book without spoiling it, to be honest.
You kind of have to read it.
It's one of those ones you have to read. But wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'd say it's really kind of cool because I have never seen, well, I don't know, I'd have to think about it, but this is one of those trilogies that the only one that I can think of that like every book feels like its own kind of standalone, but it all fits together. Like every book feels like its own distinct journey, and I think part of that is because of the change
different
of,
narrator
and
the different narrators also keep up the mystery, because you know, like the mystery is it's up to Alistair to separate fact from fiction, fantasy from reality. The different narrations make it harder to know what's real and what's not. And that's what makes it so cool. We might read these books together to discuss them.
Because we need more people to read it so we can figure out what the heck is going on.
Because
I still don't know.
It's so good. It's so good. Just
highly
read The
recommend.
Riverman.
Yeah.
That's all I can
I'm
say.
adding that one to my list too.
Retroactively.
That means you have 6. It's fine. Okay. No, that's very good choice. The next one will be Boo. So, not gonna lie, part of the reason I decided to put this one on the list is because it is October and it feels fitting.
Fair.
Yeah. No, this one was a really good read. I read it in one day.
Ooh.
In a truck while I was driving to Ontario because my dad and I was not driving. Good point to clarify. Was not driving and reading. Which would be the coolest thing I'd ever be arrested for. But anyway. So I was going on a canoe trip with my dad actually. And so I finished this one on the way there. And I was thinking about it the whole time, and I wanted more people to read it. I don't think you haven't read it yet.
No, because I want this cover.
Yeah.
Because I like this better than the other paperback cover, but this one's never anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should say it's by Neil Smith. We'll just throw that in there now. No, it's a really good read as well. It's also kind of on the, I don't know if you call it coming of age mystery. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. But basically this boy, 13-year-old boy, wakes up in heaven. And in this version of heaven, it's only 13-year-olds. And he discovers that he's a murdered child, basically. So he has to figure out like how he got there, what's going on, who murdered him, that kind of thing. And I think it's also kind of dark, but not in an obvious way. And so it kind of tricks you.
It's a murder child.
It is a murder child. Obviously, it's going to be dark. It's pretty obvious.
He's in heaven.
It's true. But, like, even, like, the way it reads, I think, I don't want to spoil anything, but basically it leads you down this path and kind of maybe people see it coming. I didn't super see it coming, but it was good. It was just a good read. I highly recommend it. And it's kind of like Sadie in that I think it kind of makes you think about some things and like, you know, about our world and this situation. It was interesting. Good read for sure. Definitely recommend it. I'm going to force you to read it. Yeah. It's good. It does actually kind of remind me of Sadie now that I'm thinking about it. A little bit in some ways, just the like the way they tackled this issue, which I don't want to give too much away. So read it. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of read it, it's good.
I like the transitions. Really nailing them. Every single one. A+.
This one is well known. It's Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin. I don't know how to say his middle name.
I was gonna say
I can't say his last name either.
We're too white for this.
I can't say the word milk properly.
Yeah.
It's just my mouth doesn't work.
Okay, then I'm just too white for it.
Yeah, you're too white. My mouth just doesn't like working. This has been my favorite book for a very long time.
A very long time.
I think I read it 2014 for the first time, and ever since I've just loved it. My copy is not this one, but it's heavily annotated, sticky note galore. It's one of my favorite books. Always will be. It's a coming of age book about two boys and their friendship and just their lives.
Yeah.
It's a very character driven book, which I love because it doesn't get confusing that way. I just read the sequel. It wasn't as good. You
Possibly another video.
You can skip it. But this book definitely just
it's a good one.
It's
I
a
love
good
that
one.
book too. Yeah.
It's very relatable and annotatable.
That's a word.
Yeah. I love annotating. You're gonna find that out. But it just
took your breath away.
Yeah, took my breath away, like James Howie. It's just a good book. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we're being really descriptive.
Yeah.
Really highlighting the good parts of
There's a dog.
Yeah, which
I want a dog.
awesome. I know.
I
Me
want
too.
a dog so
Me
bad.
too. Me too.
But yeah, that's Ari and Dante.
My last one is The Eye of the Worlds by Robert Jordan, which is timely because the show is about to come out, but I just want to come out and say that these have been my top for a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't know when I started reading these. I think when I was in middle school, maybe beginning of high school.
Middle school.
I'm not sure.
I'm like looking at your bookshelf to remember when we got all of those.
I know, I can't remember.
She has like a companion to them. Like 2 companions, don't you?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a bit of a Anyway, I don't know. I think I've never I've read some pretty fantasy heavy books, but this is probably my top favorite for sure. I don't know entirely why. I think it's just fun. Like the characters are, they're I don't want to say caricatures, but like they're just fun. Like, it's fun to read all the perspectives. I think maybe that turns some people away to have so many characters, but I just love how it's like, it's all woven together. You get so many perspectives. It's like it really feels like you're in this world because you get every side of the story, and you get to see like, the people on top, the people on the good side, the people on the bad side, the people on the bottom, like the people behind the scenes. It's just so fun to read, and there's so many books, so you just feel like you can read forever and never and never and never has to end, which I want all books to be most of the time. So yeah, definitely like something I return to, and I'll go back to like specific books and specific scenes and specific characters and just read their story throughout the series.
See, that's impressive because you had them on Kobo.
Yes, I did.
So
it took some time and some Googling.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So definitely it's been like one of my favorites for a long time, and it will probably always be one of my favorites. One of the few that I'd say I could truly call that. Because I enjoy it every time I go back to it, and I love that I can just immerse myself into it and then just kind of disappear in that world and just kind of observe their lives and go along for the adventure. So I'm hoping the show is good. This is before I see it. I have some anxiety in regards to how it's gonna go, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be another video.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
We both watch it. I have no clue what's going on. You're like, this didn't happen.
I'm gonna be that
annoying
person.
Wasn't supposed to be sexy.
I hate it already. But I love it. Alright.
Speaking of
sexy, it works.
It does not. Speaking of going back again and again and feeling immersed, my final book is The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. And I can't explain why I like this book because it's not something I would usually read. My boyfriend got it for me one year for my birthday before we were together, and it made me cry.
Yeah.
You haven't
haven't read it,
you
but
haven't read it.
I know that you're emotional.
The ending to this book. Hey. Someone came home.
We're filming it.
Oh, awkward. But it's a sci-fi. It follows this man on his journey to Titan, one of the Saturn moons. There's a pit stop on Mars, a couple stops on Earth, and I don't really know how to talk about this book, but I don't know why I like it, but there's a scene in, I think, the first real chapter, with a water fountain, and just, I love that scene, and I don't know why, but that's how I knew I would love this book, and I highly suggest this one. Very good. You need to read it. I have to read it.
I did read the first couple chapters, so I think I know which scene you're talking about. That's a good scene.
I like it. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it, but
I feel like Vonnegut is definitely one of your favorite authors because you like a few of his books for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have, I think, almost all of them. Yeah. I think I'm missing only like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be another video. We're just gonna throw a bunch of ideas out there.
Yeah. But this one's fun. Fun adventure. It's easy to follow too. Even though they go to a bunch of places, at some point the main character gets a whole new identity and he forgets about his old self. It's still easy to follow. So I liked that. But yeah, that's
There
the
you
last
go.
book. Thank
Thus
you
concludes.
for joining us in this video.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite books? Let us know. Maybe if you haven't read any of these, you could read them and then let us know what you think. That would be fun.
That would be really
Especially The Riverman.
Yes.
Please fucking read
that
The Riverman.
One needs to be read. It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
Oh.
And needs to be discussed because we need to know what you guys think.
Yeah.
What you think is real and what you think isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good day. Or whatever
Evening,
time of
night,
day it is.
all of the above.
24 hours. Have a good 24 hours.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.